This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, and welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel tonight. And let me tell you, you know what? Now the numbers finally finishing crunching here for the Edmonton Oilers and what they have achieved in terms of the big old free agency spending and whatnot. And of course, that involves the trade market to a degree. However, the Oilers only made one trade in the whole week, and that was the trade at the draft to go down to fourth and fifth rounds after having the third round from the Flames that we did not give up. So, if you're new to the channel right now, I'm going to encourage you to hit that subscribe button as Rudy comes in to open the door, because heaven forbid he be alone. But my friends, you know what? We're closing in on 8K, so definitely if you want to join up and get things going before that 8K bubble bursts, so you could do that right now. But the bubble bursting for the Edmonton Oilers happens within $732,000 of the cap. So technically, once you add on Patrick Russell back to the Edmonton Oilers main roster, the Oilers have $32,000 in cap space remaining against the $81.5 million cap. So where does that leave the Oilers? Well, that leaves the Oilers technically as about the seventh worst team, or least financially free team against the cap in the NHL. There's Arizona, St. Louis, Vegas, Anaheim, and Washington are all exceeding into summer cap space at this point. Then you have Winnipeg, Montreal, Toronto ahead of us for the time being. So there's a little bit of a tricky situation here, as I think all of us would understand that the Edmonton Oilers, yeah, they might be pretty much done. They might be almost done, but they've got another trade in them quite yet, because I imagine there's at least one more player that would like to be added to the roster somewhere along the way in the organization, and you will need cap space to do that. And I guess the other side too is simply, well, we got too many guys in certain positions, right? On the right hand side of the ice, where you have Kazian, you have a guy like Jesse Puljujarvi now, you have Kyler Yamamoto, you have, who else? Josh Archibald, you have Tyler Ennis for maybe kind of sorta. You have also Alex Chiasson, right? James Neal can play on the right wing. So you got a backlog on the right wing of talent the NHL Oilers can't exactly put to full use in a lineup, so somebody's got to go. Problem is, my friends, let me read you the past 6 or 7 NHL trades, and you tell me if the Oilers trade market with the rest of the NHL really figures them. Remember, there's only about 10% of the remaining cap left in the NHL. Nate Schmidt to the Vancouver Canucks for a third round pick in 2022. Yeah, Nate Schmidt, a guy that makes $6 million and was one of Vegas's best defenders. Devon Taves, signing rights to the Colorado Avalanche for 2 second-round picks from the Colorado Avalanche going to the New York Islanders. Then we'll kind of escape the minor trades here. Joey Anderson for Andres Johnsson. Nikita Zadorov for Brandon Saad. $1 million retained. Dennis Gilbert going back to Colorado, and Anton Lindholm going with Zadorov to Chicago. A 4th round pick for Austin Watson. That one makes sense. Paul Stastny for Carl Dahlstrom and a 4th round pick. You're starting to pick up a pattern here. A 2021 5th round pick for Ryan Murray. Yeah, Ryan Murray, that big guy that they drafted way high in the draft there in Columbus way back when. Yeah, he goes to the Devils for a 5th round pick. Eric Gabranson, making $4 million, goes to the Anaheim Ducks it goes from the Anaheim Ducks to the Ottawa Senators. Sorry, the fact that I just saw here, Ottawa trades the 5th round pick from the Oilers that they got for Tyler Ennis in that deal. So there you go, right? It's just an absolute, what do you say, mess? Mess would be a good word for that. And I guess you could go down to the Montreal or Ottawa Senators, and of course, where is it? Ottawa Senators and Pittsburgh Penguins. Right, Matt Murray, Jonathan Gruden in a 2nd round pick going for Matt Murray to the Penguins. Matt Murray going to the Ottawa Senators. Like, right? You get the point. I think that's the big part, is I've made my point. So the point's made. You understand where I'm coming from. The trade market is not friendly. Now, if you're the Oilers, what possibly can you get for a guy like Adam Larson, who probably is equivalent to Ryan Murray, right? So right there, you get a fifth-round pick for Adam Larson. Imagine the riots at Rogers Place in Edmonton for trading Taylor Hall for a fifth-round pick. What do you move Chase on? What is Chase on getting? In this market, he could get anywhere from a third-round pick to a seventh-round pick. Who knows, right? And then you have maybe a James Neal thrown in there. At most, you're probably retaining half salary and getting a seventh-round pick back, if anything. So there you go, right? Like, you look at those deals, it is a mess as to kind of looking at the trade market and seeing if it does or doesn't favor the Edmonton Oilers, because honestly, the trade market, it's all made up at this point by the appearance of every trade I just listed off to you. It is all just one GM making a deal with another GM, and good enough. Let's see if everybody else likes it. And then everybody's left scratching their heads. If this deal was like that, how's this deal like that? And I mean, yes, the NHL trades are similar to that most of every other year, but this year has been more head scratching than most years. I think the Ryan Murray trade really had me going, what the heck's going on there? And rightfully so, right? When you start seeing guys that are making $5 million a year, top four defensemen, getting traded for a fifth round pick, somebody's got to ask some kind of question. And I mean, for us as Oilers fans, we got to ask the fact of, you know what, yeah, we have to make a move more than likely, and we probably more than likely will make a move. But that return is not going to be anything special by any means, more than likely. Honestly, the chips are probably stacked 75% bad return, 25% okay return, 0% good return for the Edmonton Oilers when dumping a contract on somebody else, because that's essentially what we're doing. Is we might be able to take a little bit salary back, but who would you get for like Alex Chase that's on a $1 million deal, right? Like that's the question. When it comes to the trade market, there is so much unknown. There is so much to be decided yet. And this NHL offseason is going to be one of the most wild if we do see trades as players still sign, right? There's teams that have only 35 out of their 50 standard contracts signed. Yeah, some teams like to be about that 46 mark. Well, that's 11 more contracts, and there's 10% of the cap space league-wide left amongst 31 teams. That's right. You think about 81.5 thousand or million, yep, times 31 times 0.1, that's only 252 million of cap space left. So that's about 8.15 million for every team, but there's teams that are hoarding like double that right now. So I don't think that math is official, but you get where I'm going, right? There is not a lot of cap space left to sign, and there's guys like Mike Hoffman to sign, Evgeny Dadonov to sign. There are plenty of guys still on the market to sign with NHL teams, and of course it's going to get very, very interesting before we get any answers here. And the Oilers find themselves in the midst of that. Yes, Ken Holland's wiped his hands, said he's pretty much done. The Bear extension has to happen. So yeah, technically there still has to be a move, even if Clefbaum is on the LTIR all year, because if you don't make another move, you wait till the season to make a move. Who knows what kind of thing that looks like and how much of a disaster that becomes. Right now, the trade market is a complete unknown in the NHL, depending on the day. You imagine in the season when you have to kind of figure out, okay, well, now we want to make a deadline deal, let's get under the cap. You look at Ryan Murray's situation, that could be 10 times worse. You could be trading like an Adam Larson for a 7th round pick in 2024 at the deadline, depending on how the world shakes out by the time the deadline, whenever that is, rolls around next season. So guys, it is an absolute mess out there, and that's why, you know what, I'm glad the trade chatter's kind of calmed right down. Ken Holland did what he had to do, said pretty much done. That way he can keep the moves low key, and once we have a move, and we're good, we're done, we're gold, and we get to react to the kind of value we get for it at that point, right? We're not sitting here speculating this, that trade, because honestly, if you are, it is a dumb exercise to be doing at this point, because if you can nail a trade this NHL offseason, my goodness, you have some kind of math, management, and player personnel skills that I don't think any of us here on Dolynny TV have. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in to a late night edition here on the channel. It's Wednesday night. Usually we'd be sitting, getting ready pre-game for an Edmonton Oilers hockey game tonight. That is not the case. But my friends, you enjoy yourself. There's snow on the ground in southern Alberta. That ain't going to stop us from talking about the Oilers, especially now that we are in the off-season. I am up on out of here.